It's time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join Paul David and Jen Cohen as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics that affect all our lives in Yavapai County. And now, here's today's Countywide.
Welcome to Countywide. I'm Paul David. As always, it is great to have you in studio with us today. Ivan Anderson is back with us. We didn't quite finish our last show, our topic. We got into it, but not quite enough. Ivan is with the MATForce Speakers Bureau. He's with the Sonoran Prevention Works and a firefighter paramedic with Verde Valley Fire. That's a lot, man. Do you have any downtime?
It sounds like a lot, but it's not that bad.
No, you manage.
I still have time to hunt.
Oh, yeah, okay, that's right. And Hunter. Ivan Anderson is in studio. Okay, good website for you is matforce.org. Is there any other site or phone number people should have in case they've got questions about this, or is that really a good place to go?
That's a good place to start, especially in Yavapai County.
Okay.
Because Sonoran Prevention Works is based out of Maricopa County.
Okay.
And we met with them. We met them through a opioid summit we had last year, and that's how I had gotten in contact with them and told them I was interested in getting involved with this whole issue with Narcan, and so I'm kind of like their spokesperson in Northern Arizona at the moment, or at least in Yavapai County anyway.
Okay.
And so after I got involved with them, we now have branched out, and of course MATForce got involved, and Marilee got a hold of the gal from Sonoran Prevention Works, and so now we are working together. We are a source of Narcan up here in Yavapai County for them, or they're our source. We actually have it in stock in Prescott Valley. When we do our presentations with the Narcan, we have it to hand out and give to people that need it and want it. So
let's backtrack a little bit. We did just talk about this, but refresh our memories. The reason I invited you in to begin with was because the governor had really kicked off a campaign to find out, okay, we've got a lot of opioid deaths going on, overdoses in the state, and the country in a whole has seen it increase dramatically over the last, I don't know, few years.
Yes.
But this year, it seems like everyone seems to be really focused on it, which is, I think we talked about this last show too, where it's like, okay, we're going to focus on this drug, and then this one's going to replace that one, and it's this vicious circle. But opioids is the drug right now that seems to be the big problem. What are opioids?
Okay, back in June, the governor declared a state of emergency as far as opioids were concerned. The opioid epidemic basically is a health emergency for the state. We're seeing deaths on a rapid rate. The Department of Health Services is reviewing this and monitoring it. We now, as fire and EMS and pre-hospital, we record all of our contacts we have with patients that may be drug related as far as an overdose or a possible overdose. We actually have to record that and send it to DHS that day. And so their facts they have and their statistics are basically daily. And so the opioids started out with just prescription medications. And there's a lot of those, and we'll get into those in a minute. But heroin right now is also an opioid, and it's the big issue, and it's illegal. You can't have heroin legally, obviously. Sure. But opioids, as far as prescription medications, you have morphine, which I carry in my ambulance to give to patients for pain. You've got hydrocodone, Oxycontin, Vicodin, Demerol, and stuff like that, that people are familiar with all these names for good and bad reasons. But the biggest reasons are they're painkillers. And in large doses, they will stop your breathing, and it will kill you if you take too much of them. Well, we had an issue with the opioids, with the narcotics in the last few years in this state. And so through a lot of effort on grassroots and at the state level with the legislature, it's harder to get opioids now just to use for recreation, because now the pharmacists are on board, the doctors are on board, and you just can't get prescriptions at will, and the amount that they're giving out is a lot less. You can't go to the ER anymore and just get your fix for the weekend or whatever. The hospitals now are just saying you're not getting any pain meds from us.
They used to call it doctor shopping as well, where I'd go see you and tell you my woes, but I'd go see this doctor, that doctor, get prescriptions from all of you, and now I've got a whole bunch.
Right. Yeah. And they pretty much put the kibosh on that, because there's a system the Department of Health Services has. It's a website that pharmacists and doctors can go to, and nurse practitioners and that kind of medical field professionals can go to this website and look up this person's name. If they have purchased or been prescribed opioids, their name is in that website. Well, it tells you when they got them, how many they got, and so you can tell what this person is doing. Now, if this person comes and sees a doctor in Cottonwood on Monday and gets 90 pills, and then by Friday they're in Prescott Valley getting more pills, the doctors can see that, the pharmacists can see it also, and if the doctors aren't doing their due diligence, the pharmacists generally do. They just look it right up, and it's free. It doesn't cost anything. Any professional, healthcare professional, can just go on this website and use it.
Just type in my name?
Pardon?
Just type in my name?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
And now there's a lot of HIPAA stuff involved, but it's still a website that has you in there,
right.
And they can just see what your history is.
So pharmacists can actually look that up and then call the doctor and say, hey, by the way, did you know that Paul there was at a doctor's office on Tuesday and got the same prescription over there?
They can. More than likely what they'll do is just either decline you, or if there's issues with, they think, with the number of meds you're getting and the time frame that's elapsed, which obviously you're taking too many. Or
I didn't know pharmacists could do that.
They can now.
Okay.
It's new.
Oh, that's new.
It's about a year or two old.
Okay.
The state legislature said yes, they can get on this website, and I can't think of the name of it. I always forget it.
That's
but
okay.
Anyway, it's just it's like the prescription medication.
Tracker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway.
But they could do that though.
Yes.
Get on
they
there
can.
and find out exactly where I've been, my footprint, so to speak.
And that's
in the
why
opioid
opioids
market.
now are no longer that big of a problem so much. It's still an issue, but not like it was. And so the problem is now you cut that source off to people that are addicted to the opioids. Where are they going to go? They're going to go to illegal drugs.
Back
And
up
heroin has just gone through the roof.
Same thing as the opioid. Same effect on you.
Well, it's the exact same thing. It's just it's just made differently. It's the base ingredient is opium. Now with heroin, it's really opium. With morphine, it's a synthetic version, but it still has the same effects.
Okay.
And so heroin is your illegal form of it, natural form of it, and then the rest of them are generally, for the most part, are just a synthetic form that's used for medical reasons.
Now, some people may want to know how many opioids would I take that would cause me to overdose? And the answer to that is?
It's dependent on each person.
Depends on each person.
I weigh 175 pounds. My
I'm
metabolism.
220, so would I? Maybe I could. Maybe I couldn't take more than you.
It's possible.
It's
And also,
possible.
how often do you take them? How much of a tolerance do you have?
Yeah, I tend to avoid them.
Well, right.
You get it prescribed to you, but it's like, I don't think I want to take those.
That's a good idea. I mean, from the statistics I've seen on addiction, it takes basically 3 weeks of continuous use of opioids to start to have an addictive habit form, where your body gets to the point where it wants to have those medications. The body will have negative reactions if it doesn't have those medications, and that's it, 3 weeks. That's nothing. If you're recovering from hip surgery, you're looking at 8 to 9 weeks, 10 weeks of pain medication prescription if you choose to take them for that long.
But is it up to you to wean yourself off these things, or do the doctors start saying, hey, we need to start back?
The doctor will give you X number of medication, of pills. And now some may give you just enough to last for, say, a month or whatever. And some may just say, well, come back if your pain does not increase, and we'll give you more if you need them. But I know guys that, this was years ago, but a guy went to a vet for his dog, and he said his dog was, dying, but he didn't want to just put him down like right then. He wanted to keep him around for another couple of weeks for whatever reason. So the doctor gave him hydrocodone, and this is not a doctor, a veterinarian. Gave him hydrocodone for his dog, but he gave him 300 tablets.
Oh, wow.
For a dog that was supposed to last for 2 more weeks.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, that kind of thing is probably not as common as it was, but that stuff is out there, and that does happen. And so you have people that overprescribe who are not the high percentage of the actual medical professionals.
But they're out there.
They're out there.
Yeah. Oh, I'll be darned. Okay, we got to take our first break already, okay? Ivan Anderson in the studio today. We're talking about MATForce Speakers Bureau. He's on that. Also, the Sonoran Prevention Works. I think we'll be focusing more on that and Narcan in the second part of today's show. MATForce.org is a great website to go to. Stick around. Countywide back in just a couple minutes.
Listen to me. I am captain of the track team. And if I'm late,
She doesn't really think she's going to get out of here, does she?
Be nice. She's new.
Hello, is anyone there? Ugh.
Wow. Even from our standards, you look awful.
Oh, sweetie, what happened?
Me? My friend Becky got to talk to this super cute boy, and I tried to act like I wasn't jealous, but I so totally was. And then out of nowhere, this concrete barrier just popped up. Maybe it was a semi.
You mean you were driving?
Yeah. I mean, I know the whole eyes on the road thing, but this was a super important text. Maybe you have to know, Becky.
Texting? Great.
But it was only like 5 seconds, and I'm a really, really fast texter, so it wasn't even a big deal. Actually, has she texted me back yet? Wow, I get like no bars in this place. I wonder if they have Wi-Fi here.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. You know, but it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, you know, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
The Q102.9 plays all the hits.
Yo, what's going on? This is Drizzy Drake.
Ariana Grande.
Maroon 5.
This is Rihanna.
I'm Shawn Mendes.
Hey, it's Bruno Mars.
Ed Sheeran.
What's up, guys? It's Justin Bieber.
You're listening to The Weeknd.
Start your day with Brian James in the morning. You'll get at least 10 songs in a row during your ride home with Julie Page.
Zach Sang Show.
Catch the Zach Sang Show weeknights 7 to midnight. And Kelly Fox weekends on your home for hit music. The Q102.9 and 104.9 in Prescott and Cottonwood.
Welcome back to Countywide. Ivan Anderson in studio today. MATForce.org is the website you want to keep in mind here. MATForce Speakers Bureau, that's where you'll go and talk to any group about MATForce, any kind of drug-related issue, really.
Well, I have two separate presentations, one for MATForce and one for Sonoran Prevention Works. My MATForce presentation is drugs and alcohol. And then the Sonoran Prevention Works is strictly the Narcan.
And let's focus on that only right now, because we did touch on it last show, but we didn't get into it very far. So tell me all about this presentation.
Okay, so Narcan is now it's a non-prescription medication that is the antidote for narcotics.
I can go get some.
Yes, you
right
could.
now. Okay.
You have to buy it.
Right.
Now, if you come to my presentation, I'll just give you some.
Right.
But we schedule these presentations for anybody. They're not just for healthcare professionals. They're not for police. They're for all these different people. But I will go to halfway houses. I will go to people that have family that need the Narcan. And the prereq basically is not prereq, but the condition is basically we'll give you the Narcan, but you got to kind of go through the presentation first. And it's only 45 minutes long, maybe an hour if you have any questions. But we'll just let you know what's going on with it, how it works, how to administer it, the reasons why you would give it, what to do with the person once you give it to them, call 911. And so the Narcan is for anybody that's overdosing on medications like morphine, Oxycontin, heroin, like we had talked about earlier.
How do I know if someone's going through that?
You don't, generally.
Okay.
And so the thing about Narcan is if you find a patient, we have a protocol for fire and paramedics.
What's that?
A protocol that says...
but what is this protocol? What do you have to look for?
The protocol is called unconscious unknown. And so when you call 911 and say, hey, I found this person, I can't wake them up, and they're a male, they're this age or whatever, if you give that information to our dispatchers, they will call us and say, it can either be man down or unconscious unknown or whatever. But at that point, if we get there and we can't get this person to wake up, or they aren't breathing, or their breathing rate is slowing down, our protocol says do this, this, and this. Well, Narcan is in that protocol.
Okay.
And it's one of the first things we're going to give them. And if we can't get an IV on the person, we will drill them in the leg with what they call an intraosseous IV. And so we can give them medications, and first thing we give them is Narcan. And so if they are on heroin or any kind of prescription medication that's a painkiller, like an opiate, it will reverse the effects of that. It goes down to the cellular level. There's sites on your cells for opioid receptors, they call them. And you'll have opiates on those sites at the molecular level, and Narcan goes in there and kicks them right off. It's immediate.
Just like that?
Yeah, it's the way it works. And so we don't give, this is a 2 milligram dose. We don't give all of that at once. For professionals, we don't do that. We will, when we give this presentation, we'll tell you how to give it, but we'll give you up to 2 milligrams of Narcan in the field before we take you to the hospital or during transport. Generally, if your patient is on any kind of a narcotic or heroin, that will reverse their effects. They will start breathing again on their own. They generally will wake up if you give it all to them, and the effects are immediate.
So it's like a narcotic eraser?
Yeah, but
really,
there's a caveat to that.
Oh, okay, all right.
It only lasts for about 15, 20 minutes.
Oh, okay. So this
maybe
is like
half an hour.
Like an adrenaline boost or something?
Well, no, what it is it blocks those receptor sites, but only lasts so long.
Oh,
now,
okay.
If you're on a high...
It's not eliminating it, it's just hiding it for a little while.
It stops it, but if you have a high dose of opiates in your system that have a longer life than this, the half-life of this, then as soon as this wears off, those receptors are still in your, those opioids are still in your system, and they'll go back right into the effects again.
Well, that's a good point to bring up.
And so your patient's going to be sitting there talking to you, not happy, and all of a sudden get tired and nod off and go right back into an overdose. So when we give the presentation for this, we give out a kit that has 2 vials in it of 0.4 milligrams of medication, and that number isn't important. Just realize that when you give this medication, we're going to recommend you to give both doses of the medication to your patient, and then call 911. The doses will last so long, basically it will keep them from dying.
It's a lifeline is what it is.
It absolutely is.
A very short lifeline.
Sonoran Prevention Works, their goal is to save lives, and that's what Narcan does. The thing is, though, is that there's more to it than just giving them the Narcan and walking away. You have to call 911. You have to...
I think that's a really good point to make, though.
Well, that's part of the presentation.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that, your patient may not wake up completely. Maybe they're on a heavy dose of narcotics, and that 0.8 milligrams you just gave them now has got them breathing again. It's got them to move around and kind of be, they're not all there, but they're
slightly
at least...
coherent anyways, okay.
But that's only going to last so long. So now you got to call 911. The problem with calling 911, if I do this presentation to a halfway house or family members that have, relatives or whatever that are having an issue with heroin or whatever, not everybody wants the police there. Well, when we get an unconscious unknown, generally the police, part of our protocol, are called to the scene.
Sure.
Now the goal is not to arrest who's ever taken this. The goal is to save their life. And they will go to the hospital once we get there. There's not going to be any discussion about it. We can't kidnap them, but basically they are now put themselves in that position, so they need to be seen professionally. So.
Okay. All right. Wow. Okay. So this is just I had no idea last show when we were talking about it, I thought this was just like, boop, okay, you're awake, and boom, you're good to go. But that's not the case. It just kind of just mirrors that for a little while and hides it. And gives you a window of opportunity to go seek the professional medical care you need in order to keep yourself alive.
Right.
Oh, so that is very interesting. Okay, so let's take our break a little bit early, and we'll come back and we'll find out how we can get in touch with you and go through this presentation, because I'm sure there's people out there that probably need help with this. So again, a good website to start out with is MATForce.org. Ivan Anderson in studio today. We're talking about the Sonoran Prevention Works and Narcan and opioids today. So stick around. Countywide back in just a couple minutes.
This is Bruce Morrow, Transportation Manager for Cottonwood Area Transit. Remember, we cover the entire Verde Valley and Sedona. Cottonwood Area Transit has you covered wherever you want to ride in the Verde Valley, all day, every day. Take Cottonwood Area Transit through Clarkdale, Verde Village, and from 26 locations in Cottonwood. With Verde Links, it's a quick and easy trip to Sedona every day. Don't forget our connectors to Camp Verde. Visit cottonwoodaz.gov for Cottonwood Area Transit and take a seat. Let's go ride.
The Q102.9 plays all the hits.
Yo, what's going on? This is Drizzy Drake.
Ariana Grande.
Maroon 5.
This is Rihanna.
I'm Shawn Mendes.
Hey, it's Bruno Mars.
Ed Sheeran.
What's up, guys? It's Justin Bieber.
You're listening to The Weeknd.
Start your day with Brian James in the morning. You'll get at least 10 songs in a row during your ride home with Julie Page.
Zach Sang Show.
Catch the Zach Sang Show weeknights 7 to midnight. And Kelly Fox weekends on your home for hit music. The Q102.9 and 104.9 in Prescott and Cottonwood.
Your daughter is having trouble learning French. Do you A, hire a tutor?
Bonjour.
B, enforce a French-only rule at home. Or C, watch some foreign films. When it comes to parenting, there are no perfect answers, but that's okay, because you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Start a story. Adopt at theshelterpetproject.org.
Welcome back to Countywide. We've got just a couple minutes left in the program. Iva Anderson in the studio today. We're talking about the Sonoran Prevention Works Narcan, and you got wind of this program, went down, checked it out, went through the training.
They did a training with me.
They did a training with you, and now you're available up here to. I feel like. Do you get called out much to do these presentations?
Right now, I do probably at least 1 to 2 a month, which doesn't sound like much, but when I do them, I generally have a pretty good turnout. In October, I'll do Arizona Rangers. I'll be at Yavapai Apache Police Department doing one for them. So I've got those 2 scheduled. I think last month I did 2, one here and one in Prescott Valley. I've done a handful with halfway houses in the Cottonwood area.
So it's a gamut of folks that are doing them. I mean,
Absolutely.
I heard you just say the Apache Police Department, Yavapai Apache Police Department. So okay, so you're there doing that, because I know that's been kind of a thing lately, is to get the law enforcement involved too, because sometimes they are first on scene and they can see something like this happening. I think I saw a story recently. A local officer saved a life with a Narcan pen.
I wouldn't rule it out. Every department is different. Not every department wants their officers to carry this.
Sure.
Some do, some don't. I couldn't even tell you who in the valley does. So I'm not.
It's tough to ask a police officer to be a doctor.
Or
the training an EMT or paramedic.
It doesn't really boil down to the officer individually. It boils down to the chief of the agency saying, okay, we want to get in this or we don't.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of things that go along with it. This stuff only lasts so long. This has got an expiration date of February of 18. So if they never use it, then they have to buy it again, or they can come get it from us and get it for free. But
okay, so that stuff's got a kill date.
So it's just every agency is different, and like I said, I don't know which one's in the valley.
Is it expensive?
Honestly, I've never priced it. I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
Now, this right here is what we use pre-hospital in my ambulance.
Okay.
So we don't even. I brought it because it's a prop for today.
Sure. But that's not what we're going to see.
But what I will give you in my kit when I give you my presentation has got 2 syringes. It's got 2 vials that have the Narcan in it. You have to draw it up, and we explain all that. We show you how to do all that. And then there's also the nasal one that's in a little square box, and it's just you just push the button and squirt it into somebody's nose, and that's it. And there's 2 of those generally in a box. So those are the ones everybody wants, which I would agree, because those are the way to go. They're fast.
Sure.
There's no needles involved. You don't have to poke anybody.
Yeah, not anybody's. I'm not big on needles.
But that's the most expensive version.
Gotcha.
So,
of course.
Yeah, naturally.
Naturally.
So I don't know what the costs are, but the ones that we hand out currently, we get through a grant. And so the Sonoran Prevention Works get through a grant. And so it's got the needles, it's got the vials, you draw it up and you give it. My suggestion to anybody that takes this presentation is to give both doses and be done with it. The thing is, if this person is overdosing on something besides heroin, like say Valium or Xanax or something like that, which is not a narcotic but has the same effects, the Narcan won't work. But the Narcan won't harm you either. It's just inert at that point. It'll just be in your system. It'll just stay there until its half-life runs out, and then it just goes to the kidneys and liver, and it's gone.
So if it's not an overdose, it just has no effect on you whatsoever. So then I would imagine the first thing you do is call 911, then grab that thing and administer it, and then see what happens.
Right. If you find somebody that's unconscious and you don't know why they're unconscious, maybe they're just drunk to a stupor. Well, if I give them Narcan, it's not going to harm them.
Okay.
It's just going to not help them.
It's not going to wake them up either.
No, it's not.
Okay, all right.
And if they, like I said, if they overdose on another kind of medication that's not affected by Narcan, it won't harm him either that I give him this, but it won't help him either.
And I can get a hold of you going through MATForce.org. I can find out more about the Sonoran Prevention Works as well as the MATForce Speakers Bureau. All right. That's all I got time for, Ivan. I know. You can go on forever, right? You can go on forever. That's great. I love it when you come in. All right. So again, MATForce.org is the website you can go to. Ivan Anderson, more than willing to come out, talk about the Sonoran Prevention Works or MATForce Speakers Bureau. That's been today's Countywide. Thanks for watching and listening, and have a great day. We'll talk to you again next time.